Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about one of the worst actors turned activists of our time. I'm of course talking about Alyssa Milano again. Alyssa Milano is a formerly very attractive actress, I'll admit, but she didn't really ever have an interesting or significant career. She started off as a child star on Who's the Boss back in the 80s, and then later on when she grew up and matured, she was one of the stars of the TV show Charmed. Charmed was a show about three witches who solved crimes with their magical powers. Sounds really serious and interesting. Well, it actually was a pretty popular show, and albeit, I'll admit, those chicks on there were pretty hot at the time. I don't think I ever watched the show much more other than a reason to check out some pretty girls, and Alyssa Milano used to dress very, very scandalous all the time on that show. That was basically why they hired her, and now, about 20 or so years later, she still thinks she's relevant, I guess because she was on a couple TV shows. She thinks that people should listen to her politics now. Not really sure how that correlation was made in her head, but gosh darn it, she's trying to push her politics left and right. She's a big liberal activist who's been parts of things like the Women's March. She's gone to the Kavanaugh hearings during the nomination for a new Supreme Court justice. She's been involved in all kinds of political stuff that really is out of her realm. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She never held public office or done anything significant with her life. She's an actress who played a witch on TV 20 years ago, but regardless, her new campaign slogan, her new thing she's been going for is the whole defund the police narrative. She's been one of the people saying the cops should be removed and we should just get rid of the police because they're all racist or something like that. Some crap they're making up now because they just want to disrupt the order of the world. And now it's come back to bite her because recently Alyssa Milano did a very hypocritical thing when she called the cops herself to her home when she was frightened for some reason. Now, this is very ironic coming from someone who said they should defund the police, and then she goes and calls the police, and that's why we're going to talk more about this story today. We're going to talk about Milano, her call to the police, the details, and all that soon. But first, let's take a quick moment to check out our sponsor. Hey guys, today I want to offer you another one of these awesome free gold coins. This time it's the firefighter coin. This time we're supporting our boys in red, the ones we call when we need safety and help when things go wrong at our house or somewhere we work. When there's a fire, we call the fire department, and there's no better way to support America's firefighters than getting one of these free gold coins. All you have to do is pay for shipping, and one of these awesome firefighter coins can be yours today. It's a really great deal. It's an awesome offer coming from the Brave Patriot. They're great with these gold coins. They have lots of cool offers and styles, and today's no different. All you have to do is pay for shipping and you can get this awesome firefighter coin and support these guys who really support our neighborhoods and our country. Thanks for your time today. Hopefully you check out our exclusive link below if you're interested. And now back to the show. Great, now that that's out of the way, let's get more to the Alyssa Milano story. This title and article pretty much sums it up. It says, defund the police activist Alyssa Milano calls 911, sparking massive police presence in her quiet California neighborhood, claiming a gunman was on her property, but it was really a teen shooting at squirrels with an air gun. So she overreacted clearly. This happens though, it's a mistake. I mean, it's definitely possible. She saw the teen and it looked like a real weapon, or she heard something. I'm not trying to hold that part against her. It's okay to be safe rather than sorry, but the whole thing is she defunded the police. She wanted to defund them, and she's talked about them bad over and over. She's gone along with all these liberal narratives, all this whole like cops are racist, Black Lives Matter, you know, we need to protect the minorities even if they're committing crimes and attacking cops and threatening people's lives. No, they want to support them and attack the police. And the fact that you're going to try and defund the police kind of removes your ability to call the police. You really shouldn't be calling on them if you think they should be defunded. And if I was a cop or if I had any authority, I would say anyone that says defund the police, they can't call 911 anymore. They should surrender their rights as a citizen. They should surrender their right to be protected by the local authorities. Like, that's essentially what you're doing. I mean, just imagine if it happened in another situation, like if you were this vocal activist against, say, firefighters. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's just as ridiculous as defund the police, really. Defunding the firefighters is a very similar claim, even though it doesn't sound right to the ear because we've been conditioned to think the police are more evil and racist when they're really not. They're just normal people trying to save lives. They're risking their lives to protect the neighborhoods. And that's a lot of the similar kind of things the firefighters do. albeit in very different realms. Like firefighters, of course, are stopping fires, grabbing people out of buildings, stuff like that, like saving people. But just imagine if the left said they were racist and offensive because, you know, like for example, let's say a black person's house burnt down too quick and they blame the firefighters, and then they say defund the firefighters. And then it's like, well, if you say that, if you propose that very sternly in the public, then you're basically surrendering your rights to call the fire department when your house sets on fire. I mean, you can't go against the organization and then call them in when you need them. I mean, I wouldn't be returning that call. I wouldn't be coming to save your house if I was a cop or firefighter. But, you know, I'm not trying to punish them too. I'm not saying obviously they shouldn't get hurt or injured, but they should just really think about the consequences of their actions. And I don't think Alyssa Milano clearly thought this through. And that's why now she has this egg on her face, and we're going over this story that's just a highly hypocritical thing coming from her. Actress and defund the police activist Alyssa Milano was quick to call cops when she believed an armed gunman was on her Bell Canyon property on Sunday morning. The call ignited a response that included 7 Ventura County Sheriff's vehicles, 1 K-9 unit, a police helicopter, and 1 Los Angeles Fire Department team that sat down the street on standby. DailyMail.com has obtained exclusive photos showing the first responders coming to the aid of the 47-year-old at her 5-bed, 6-bath, 8,000 square foot, $2.5 million home in the upscale gated community that sits just 20 minutes north of Los Angeles. Wow. So she's got a pretty big house. She's a rich and pampered celebrity. She's never had to suffer or be scared of anything in her life. And that's why when something small like this happens, she totally freaks out. She hears a little airsoft gun, thinks some kid is coming after her. She's probably paranoid. She has obviously issues too. That's another thing. I don't know if you can tell in this picture, but you could see her hair is thinning. She actually had this video we covered a few weeks back where her hair was literally falling out, and she tried to spin it in this political way. She's very, very good with like propaganda, kind of transparent if you're in the know. But the way she went for it was she was combing her hair and it all started falling out really hard, and she blamed it on Corona and she blamed it on the virus, and then told people to wear a mask. And she was basically making like a pro-mask propaganda piece. And everyone pointed out, obviously, yeah, your hair falls out for a number of reasons. This isn't even close to a Corona symptom. But the main point is it's a symptom of her stress and of her like losing her mind a little bit. She's losing her hair. She's really like, that's something that happens when people are stressed and they're freaking out and they're pulling their hair out. And that's kind of what's happening with Milano. She's kind of losing her mind this year. She's getting too involved in politics, too invested, too like, you know, just she thinks it's all the end of the world kind of stuff. And I know we talk about it a lot here, but I'm never like doom and gloom with you guys. I'm never saying, oh, we're going to die. Like we're going to end the world. Like, oh, we need to wear a mask or everyone's going to blow up or something. I mean, these are the people that are far more extreme, and it really gets to their heads, even though, yes, I wouldn't say we don't take it seriously. Like if Biden got elected, for example, we'd be in a lot of trouble, but I'm not over here like pulling my hair out, pretending, oh, the world's going to end because of this virus and the cops are all racist. You know, like these guys are on a whole other level, and it's going to show how corrupt and just terrible their lives have become. A neighbor tells DailyMail.com, we first noticed the helicopter circling overhead very low and knew something was going on. It's usually such a quiet community. Then we saw all the police cars parked in front of Alyssa's home. They had their guns at the ready and seemed very serious. So this is a big turnout. That's the other thing I think they're trying to point out with pictures and stuff. Like this is a lot of cops for one call. Normal people would just get like one car showing up for them. Even in this kind of situation, I think she probably freaked out on the phone and told them there was like some serial killer outside. Like, you know how she is. She overhypes everything. She's just this like shrill, over the top, dramatic actress lady who, you know, she sees a bug on the sidewalk and she's like, oh my God, there's a monster at my house. Someone call the animal control, you know? And that's kind of how I see this situation. She probably blew it up on the phone and overreacted, just like how she did in her video with the hair coming out we just talked about, just like how she does it with every political issue. She acts like it's life or death and she freaks out. And that's what's caused this overreaction from the cops. In addition, they already mentioned she lives in a gated community. She's like a privileged white girl, just so over the top, so rich, so pampered. All the cops show up for her. You know, there's helicopters, there's fire departments standing by, K-9 unit, and it's all for nothing. It's all a waste of dollars and resources. And she's the defund the police girl. Like this is her tweet from August. This is her, you know, her sort of MO for a long time, especially this year when all this BLM stuff started popping up. And now she calls the cops when she's scared. It's just a total hypocrisy and a total misuse of operational costs. Alyssa and her talent agent husband, Dave Bugliari, 39, they said, had dialed 911 when they heard what they believed to be gunshots on their 1.39 acre property. They allegedly told the emergency hotline hotline. The sound scared their dogs and made them feel like the gunman was nearby. A description was given of a suspect to the officers was a male 40 years old with a long rifle. The two have been married since 2009. We're also concerned that it may be someone stalking the former Charmed and Who's the Boss star. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know you got to be careful and watch out, but this is just like her ego. She thinks everyone's following her. She thinks she's the center of attention still. She thinks she's still relevant. It's just kind of desperate and sad. In 2008, Alyssa filed restraining orders against alleged stalker Jeff Turner, a then 54-year-old man she claimed twice tried to break into the same home. The next door neighborhood app was rife with concerns. Just drove by about 12 armed officers on Bell Canyon Road, one resident wrote. They are responding to a call reporting a man with a gun in the neighborhood. This is also cause of the helicopter. Stay inside, stay safe. There's her defund the police tweet. This is at direct odds with her heavy police presence to protect her. So yeah, it just shows the big hypocrisy. You know, it's like these people act like they hate the police. They talk a big talk, but then when something happens to them, they call the police right away. It's happened before. Like that happened in Portland and in the Chaz district. Those people called the cops when they had problems. And that's the whole deal. That's what a lot of people that hate on the cops a lot, like they bash them, but then they still will call them when they're in trouble. Like they're not too good for the cops. They'll call them themselves, but they also want to act like they hate them in public and give them that lip service that the liberals want. Alyssa Milano's gate sat open with law enforcement guarding the entire perimeter of the street, as the dailymail.com photos show. The search by air and street level lasted over 3 hours and ended abruptly at noon. It turned out it was a neighborhood team with an air gun shooting at squirrels, a resident told. The male teenager witnessed the emergency response and later realized he was the cause and turned himself in. The officers then had an impromptu meeting with some of the residents in Bell Canyon Community Center, confirming what they dubbed as Squirrel Gate. Alyssa has owned this Bell Canyon home since 2001. She lives there with her husband and her 2 children, Milo 9, Elizabeth 6. In July, the left-leaning activist tweeted out to her 3 million followers a link urging them to sign the People's Budget LA that demands a 90% reduction in police funding. Wow. Now that is a very specific and hypocritical thing. 90% reduction in police funding. She probably used over 90% of her area's police resources just for this little phony call. Now, again, like I said, I understand being cautious, better safe than sorry. I'm not trying to rule this out as a sorry accident. I know it might have just been unintentional, but the point is you are a hypocrite. You're trying to take away the police, but then you want them for yourself. And then in this case, like for example, if she does defund the police like they're planning, they'll still be okay. They'll just hire private security. They'll hire their own police. You know, they'll just have their own guards. But other people can't afford that. We all rely on the police more as normal people, just like how Alyssa does now, when really she should be paying for her own guards. She shouldn't be calling the police if she's trying to defund them. And that's the real bite of this story and the real end of this tale. So with that said, that about wraps things up. Do you guys think Alyssa Milano is a big fat hypocrite like we're saying in today's video? I know I do. Tell me what you think by commenting below. Also hit that like button to get this video shared. Subscribe if you're new and hit the bell for notifications too. Until next time, have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow.